everyone. Thank you for returning to my channel. Today's video, you can tell by the title, is going to be another recap and review for season 1, episode 4 of The Kings of Napa, and the episode title is going to be Dear Wine People, which is, it's cute. It's cute. So episode begins with Dana having a flashback. I guess this is maybe when he first got out of college, or, you know, he's on an interview and we see the two owners. I guess the company is a very prominent company, Sloan, whatever. And they're looking at his, you know, everything he has, his portfolio on paper, and they see that, you know, he's super qualified, great, you know, everything. However, when he walks in, you can clearly see the mood in the room shift, and it is basically because he is a little person, and that is super, like, it's 2022. Like, are you serious? Like how shallow can you guys be? Needless to say, he didn't get that job. Anyway, fast forward to present day. Dana is actually sitting down, having a bite with his Aunt Melanie, and we quickly find out that she has kind of something up her sleeve. He's deciding to join forces with the enemy at this present time because, you know, he's just pretty much mad at everybody in his family after last week. He's mad at Rose, he's mad at August, he's mad at his mama, he's mad at, I think he's mad at Yvette. Like, he's mad at everybody. And rightfully so. I'm sure he's super hurt. I would be if I found out, you know, all the things he found out. But anyway, we don't really figure out what that whole thing is all about until later on in the episode. Anyway, back at the house, the family's having like another little bite, and they're discussing how they're going to navigate through, you know, the operations and how they're going to market the new dessert wine and what they're going to name it. And everybody's kind of saying their 2 cents, and then we kind of see August throw out there like, oh, why don't we have the name be the King's Heritage? And before anyone could say anything about that, Dana walks in like, bah, 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 bah. Look what I got. And this is when we find out that Melanie has like a contact, I guess, with one of the individuals on the asset crew for Asset Makers Top CFOs Under 40. So he's super excited about that. He definitely throws shade out there to everybody, and he's off. Like, and that's kind of the tempo that he's going to be operating at for this entire episode. It's, again, I can't really be mad at him about it, but it's like, are you sure this is how you want to go about these things? Like, okay. Anyway, Rose, this even goes as far as Rose tries to go in and, you know, and he's like, no, leave me alone. Like, he basically is like she's dirt on the ground to him right now. And I get that he's hurt by it, but he also said a whole bunch of hurtful things that I think outweigh what she did. What, she didn't even do anything bad. She's a human being. She's entitled to her vote. Like, she didn't completely kick your back in and be like, oh, you know, you ain't nothing. Like, I don't know. It was weird. It was really weird. And yeah. Next scene, we get August. She walks in and she says that Quincy, apparently, like, the old client that we thought could be the extortionist, the one that kind of had a falling out or whatever with their dad, find out he's X'd off the list. It wasn't him. He's not even in the area, whatever. So that's cool, whatever. And Dana's still like, to August. And that's just where he's at with it right now. So he's just got to work through those emotions, but I don't know. And next scene, we see Bridget. She's having the tour of the new winery she's gonna be working at. Sean, I think his name is. And we immediately, like, we could tell that there's some underlying drama under there, because they start kind of bickering back and forth in front of her, and she's kind of like, okay. And within that same scene, I believe it was, we find out that they are also being extorted. So I don't know, somebody's running rampant, extorting these wineries in Napa, and no wineries are safe right now. Is what it all comes down to. And we also get like a little snippet of Christian literally frolicking and making out all through the vineyard and stuff. And it's just like, do you not learn? Like, he's just, he's clearly gonna have to continue to learn the hard way. And we also see, like, he's not even with the same girl that he was in the first episode. I peeped that. Did you peep it? Let me know in the comments. But we find out that he's still just, it's just not clicking for him. Like, it's not clicking. And of course, Mr. Otis walks up and brings him back on down to reality, messes up the whole schmood. Oh well. And his little girlfriend, she clearly thinks that he owns everything there and whatnot. And I'm just like, when will you learn, Christian? Ugh. Moving on. Dana's having this asset, whatever, photo shoot, and he is laying it on so daggone thick. Like, you get some shade, you get some shade, you get some shade. Like, everybody gets shade at this photo shoot. He even goes as far as to, like, he declines his mom's suggestion, but then when because Melanie's there, mind you, he actually, when Melanie suggests the same thing, he's like, oh yeah, that's a good idea, let's do that, And the photographers and whatnot, they're like, oh, why don't we get some shots with your wife, power couple. And he's like, no, I'd much rather take shots with my aunt Melanie. And then and they're just like, what? And then Vanessa storms off, and Bridget walks in, and it's just like, oh man, she is ready to tell them what she just found out, of course. August tells him to come inside. They're all like, and before Bridget, her anger clearly got the best of her, and she just spews everything. And Vanessa finds out they've been being extorted, and she goes off, and she's pissed, and she just leaves the house she clearly was gone for a couple hours, because they were just like waiting there for her when she got back. Whole family's there, I think, minus Yvette. She's there. They're all there, and from here on, they inform her pretty much of everything, and she's kind of just like, getting bombs thrown at her from left and right. So I can understand it could be a lot on her, but we also see Christian. He feels left out about the whole thing. He wanted to be up on it, and I'm just like, you can't even, pay attention to what is in front of you and take care of what was right in front of you. So why would you ever think that it'd be a good idea for them to have told you that? Like, yes, your job was to babysit your mom and your aunt, and that is clearly all you can handle. We know you just can't handle a lot of stuff, Christian, and it's okay. It's okay, honey. It is okay. And we also find, I don't know if this is going to be like a big deal, but I just wrote it down anyway, that Melanie got robbed in Sierra Leone. That's why she always carries a gun now. If anything comes of that later on, just know I said it first. So, whatever. But Quincy also comes in, and Vanessa's like, why is he talking all this, stuff? Isn't he the whatever security, whatever public, whatever the heck they had his title as? And they're like, oh no, he's the private investigator. And she's like, wow, like, really? Like, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Yvette also walked in at that point, and we find out that what Quincy says is that Mr. Otis has a large sum of money in his bank account, or that, I think this was when he said that he bought an $80,000 boat a couple months ago or something like that. And I'm just like, I didn't really think that was a big deal, honestly, because he's at that age. He's clearly older. Like, he could have been saving for his whole life, or maybe they I like to think they pay their employees well, so he just was saving his money. I don't really think that that's a good amount of money. And I could also see that being someone's entire life savings that has been, you know, good with their money over the years, and he wanted to buy himself, you know, that gift. I can totally see an old man doing that. I don't really think that was a big deal or telling, but whatever. Vanessa says no more secrets in the castle. And that was pretty much that for that scene. Next scene, we get Sean and Sean come over, and they're still like, blah, blah, blah. And August is clearly going to look into what they got going on too, because clearly it's probably the same guy. Their situations are linked. This is clearly a trend. And we also find out that August still doesn't think that it's Mr. Otis. So I don't know, man. I don't know. My whole thing is, though, during this scene and even like the previous scenes, why are they doing all this speaking in the house when we know that the house is clearly bugged, or that the extortionist has access to the house? Like, let's think about that. Like, why would you tell them what they're going to do so then they could beat you to it? And I think that's what honestly happened and later on. So Dana storms off. August is having a moment at her house, which I didn't realize that she also didn't live at the main house. She has her own apartment or house or whatever. I guess I just didn't realize that in previous episodes. She calls Kelvin, and he picks up. We see him in his office, and he's kind of laughing and grinning. He's grinning. He is grinning from ear to ear. And I was like, I wonder who you're talking about. But anyway, he says that he's busy right then and there. Can he call her back and whatnot? And she's kind of, clearly he can tell that she's upset by the tone of her voice. But they get off the phone or whatever. She just like, make sure you call me back. And we see her scrolling through his social media, only to realize that his wife is still posted up there with her ring on. And she just kind of like, because I'll be like that too. Like, okay, it's one thing you have your ring on, but you still got your wife posted up here. It's not like it's family pictures or anything either. It's just pictures of his wife with her ring on. So it's like, okay, I see you. I definitely see you. We also see Bridget finally, thank God someone got to him, talking some sense and kind of putting him on game, Christian, to what needs to be done in the vineyard, and maybe he'll do better from here on out. Here's hoping. But anyway, we also see the next day, Dana is continuing his photo shoot, and we see him up there with Melanie, and I'm just like, oh my God. But she walks off, and I don't know if it was just for that scene, I don't know, but she's walking off because she's not feeling too well. She's hot or whatever. She needs to take a break, and she's, fallen mildly ill. And I'm like, but she never revealed what was going on with her, if she has any underlying health conditions currently. But I feel like something will come of that, because I don't see them she wasn't just like, oh man, I need to get out this sun, it's hot. It was really like, I need to sit down, or I need a moment. Like something was actually wrong underneath there. So I don't know, y'all. I guess we gonna find out. Then we also find out that the asset man, those people, the photo shoot people, whatever, this company wants to sit down with the whole family and kind of talk. And everything is all smiles and giggles until a couple jokes get taken too far. I think everybody was there but Bridget, and things get taken a little bit too far. They start all arguing, and then the lady goes out. She's like, okay. And when she comes back, she's gathering the camera, and they're like, wait, the camera was rolling that whole time? And she's like, oh yeah, and everything that's on here is now property of asset managers or whatever. And they're like, oh no, you need to delete that right now. Oh hell, they are like, nah. But then she storms off, she grabs the camera, and she goes, and I'm like, oh boy. And they was airing out all of their laundry, their dirty laundry. So I was like, oh boy. We also find out that Bridget's the oldest too, which I don't know if that was maybe said before, but I kind of was like, thinking like, okay, she's the oldest, and that means that they actually got together before, perhaps. I mean, Reggie was probably married to Vanessa still, but that was before the kids came. So I'm not trying to take up for him at all, but I was just like, kind of like, okay, just lining some more timelines up and kind of just trying to make sense of the whole family tree thing. So that was interesting. Dana goes off during that whole thing, and I guess he thinks that it's going to be like his whole shot at it's going to be sabotage. But yeah, that was pretty much it with that scene. We also get Vanessa hosting another wine event, and surprisingly enough, Melanie comes by and she's apologetic, and she kind of just lays everything out there. She says that her and Reggie used to talk once a week, but it was mostly about Bridget. And she also puts her up on game, saying that like he was legitimately scared. He had plans to take you guys all out of the country, like in a night if he needed to, whatever. Like, have you never looked in his cigar boxes? Like, girl, you better look in his cigar boxes and stuff, like, da-da-da-da. So she runs inside, and she starts tearing through the office, and August is like, what are you doing? And she finally finds the box she's looking for, and it's bank rolls of money, fake passports, the whole nine. And it's just like, yes, this is real. Like, this is a real situation, and he was aware of it. I do think it's kind of, I don't know. I don't know. Because we also found out that Reggie was paying for Mr. Otis's wife's chemo and stuff, so that they had a good relationship. So I don't know, man. I don't know who it could be. Fast forward, we see Maddie, Bridget, and August. They're shopping or whatever, and I was like, oh, you know, I guess they're cool again or whatever. But you could tell Bridget was just like, I don't know. I don't really understand. If I'm not cool with somebody, I'm just not going to be there at all. So I don't understand how they even got to the point of, like, did she invite you out and you said yes? Did you guys just have to arrange each other? I don't know. We also know that Maddie, she don't know nothing about what's going on between them or the family. And Bridget starts throwing shade, and they're talking about Kelvin and how August has tried to kiss him and stuff like that. And he's kind of like, and, you know, Bridget says he's a good dude. And I think that was just to spite August. But that was pretty much it with that. We go back to the house. Vanessa lets us know that she's upgraded every inch of that property, honey. Every inch. She got the latest security stuff, I guess. And nah. This tiger mom is gonna get them. That's how she probably was saying it. I'm stupid. But Dana also says, this is what he says, that a large sum of money was deposited into Mr. Otis's account or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I can see, okay, I got it. That can be kind of shady and sketchy. I could see that. But as far as the whole boat thing, I just didn't really think that was that big of a deal. But I don't know. Unless they know his financial history and stuff, and you know, his tax bracket and all that, I guess that makes sense, but I just didn't think that was a big deal. The boat. We also have the little girl from the company walking in, pissed off, saying all this type of stuff about how, like, y'all really called the company on me, and da-da-da-da. And we find out that Vanessa, she pulled some strings, and she got some contacts up over at the company too. And she called them, and they snatched and deleted that footage right from her. And she's pissed, but I'm like, thank God, because I'm glad that didn't become something else, because at least for right now, because I couldn't take another twist and turn. I'm like, a lot is happening every single episode, so I'm like, oh, okay, thank God. We also see Vanessa and Dana make up, which was super sweet. And she tells us that it actually wasn't her that called Sloan. It was their dad, because he wanted him to work for the family. And that I guess, and I've seen other mothers have this issue kind of where they've become aware that their baby fetus is going to have some type of disability or some type of handicap or whatever. So I know they have like a battle trying to figure out, like, okay, I want to have my baby, of course, but I don't want them to suffer. So it's like, what do I do as mom? Like, I could see how that could be very, like, just weighing a lot on someone's, especially she was a first time mom when that happened too. So of course she was probably just like, I don't know, but the underlying thing I think is always like, no, I don't want to end this pregnancy or anything like that. And she let him know that, like, it was never like about me not loving you or not wanting you or nothing like that. I think she just wanted to make sure she could give him the best life that she could. And I can understand her qualms with that. And at this moment, everything is kind of shattered when Bridget calls Dana and says that the extortionist poisoned Sean and Sean the vines at their vineyard with something I never even heard of. They also say it's in front of Grace. And he's like, nah, I'm calling the cops. Like, this, enough is enough. No. And the cops, they roll up, hands up, all this, and roll up on Mr. Otis. They're like, it's gotta be him or whatever. This fool, like, he jumps in the car, speeds off, and like, we don't see it, but we hear it. Like, he got in an accident, and I'm just like, oh great, he's dead. Like, he doesn't die, but he's like unconscious in the hospital, Vanessa says. And I'm just like, what? Like, what? I mean, I get it, because that would be the end of that, you know, that storyline and whatnot. But I was just like, okay, whoa. Slow down. But, yeah, that was pretty much that. So we don't know. We still don't know if he's the one that did it or not. I'm sorry, y'all. There's something in my eye, and it keeps bothering me. But, Dana and August, they also share a sweet moment. He's slowly coming back around with everybody. I don't think we saw him make up with Rose. I don't think, but he's in better spirits and is happy with everybody for the most part, I think, now. And the family's inside having some dessert. Bridget's actually also there, which is really nice. And they're just kind of like reflecting on everything. And August goes to walk around. She's like, you don't need to walk me out, whatever. And she's like, well, she's super apologetic, and she's like, can we ever get back to where we were, and and Bridget is still considerably hurt by it, and that's understandable, but she says that she promises to work on it. And I think that that's all August she should be nothing but grateful for that right now. That's all she can really ask of her after, you know, I feel like I can understand why Dana lashed out and his whole thing. But August it seemed like she's not that type of person to like not be to be spineless, or to be, you know, to turn on someone that she calls a friend or family or whatever. So I could see how Bridget kind of is like taken aback by her right now, because that hasn't been consistent with her character for all these years. So August needs to definitely cleanse herself and not be moving in a way that is not typically associated with how she presents herself normally, which seems to be she has a good heart. Fast forward, we see August having Kelvin over. They're sharing some wine, not the dessert wine, but they're having a glass of wine, and his phone rings and he goes to text the person back, and she's like, oh, well, why don't you just go be with that person that you're texting? And he's like, hold up, this is my son, he's always gonna come first, so what's up? And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, egg on face. He says that the divorce is in procession. Okay. And we also find out that her parents took him in, or took care of him and whatnot, because he was in foster care. And yeah, they took care of him, and were even gonna send him to school and whatnot. And he just didn't want that for himself. I guess he wanted to make a name for himself and not feel as though like he was using her, even though he knew he wasn't using her, and just kind of needed to break away from that, become his own man, become his own adult version of himself, and, you know, do some things for himself. And there they are again, which I get it. I definitely do. I think that's great that they did that. And I could also see how that could be like a lot, and they finally kiss. And I don't know, we'll see. I'm still kind of side-eyeing him because I just, until I see the divorce papers, like, okay. But the last scene we get is Christian. I guess Bridget got to him. He's actually out there, y'all, in the vineyard, and he is, you know, helping his people and whatnot. Sorry if you hear that. I think my neighbor's banging on something. He's out there actually with his people, and he ain't got his bling on or nothing like that. But then he realizes he forgot his cheat sheet or whatever, so he goes into the office, goes inside, and he's looking through everything. And he's like, oh, Bridget must have picked up my tablet or whatever. So he's looking in her bag, and he sees this big old bag. What is it called? I tried to write it down. I don't. Glycerine, whatever that odorless, I guess, thing was that they sprayed all over the Sean and Sean's property. I was just like, oh boy, here we go. I think she's being framed. I just don't, it can't be Bridget. Like, it's not Bridget. She's clearly being framed, which we know is very much, is very realistic because the extortionist has access to the property. And who knows? Otis could have put it in there. I think Bridget had already left before, or no, she was still there. Who knows? He could have slipped it in there. It still could be him. I'm not saying it is him or isn't him, or I don't know. All I know is I don't think it's Bridget. But we're going to see, y'all. We're going to see next week. But anyway, this is my recap and review for the Kings of Napa. Let me know what you guys think below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.